Just wanted to do a quick video. It's super windy out here, so I already know it's probably not going to have the greatest audio, but I'm apologizing for that up front. I don't think you're going to need too much of the audio, but I'm going to go ahead and put the earbuds in just to see if you guys can get some of that audio. Probably make it worse with the wind, how it's going on right now, but I guess it's better you can hear me through the wind versus the wind just pushing on the phone over here. Maybe it's a little more raw, but we'll see. Try not to mess with them too much now that they're in. Just real quick, this is a RX8 Ultra I have set up with an Ultra View. This was my previous hunting bow. It's still a hunting bow, still probably going to be used as a hunting bow, but this might just be more of my kind of target slash hunting bow that I'm going to use for the future. I just wanted to kind of highlight it. I went ahead and did the gas strings. I had that for the last season. They shot really well, but at 78 pounds, it puts a hurting on them. And these cams in particular have some pretty hard twists in them. As far as like the cam profile itself, kind of puts a little bit of pressure on this round part here, and then you start getting some separation there. But it was exchanged under warranty. It was, it's like any other warranty process, but I would say quick and painless, nothing too crazy. Just highlighting that I got the new string. I think I'm gonna probably do a couple of shots and set up. Obviously I don't know if you're gonna catch all of it because the wind's so bad over here. I'm trying a few different things. I have kind of a back tension release. The Mini Evolution is kind of an older model. I know there's a lot more newer models out there that are really good, but this one in particular helped me a lot with that target panic, and helps me kind of train a little bit. But also I use it for like 3D indoor, that kind of stuff. It really keeps me from overshooting as far as like taking my time and just kind of making better shots overall. But I'm still tinkering with this on the new setup because this wasn't set up for this in particular. This D-loop is even kind of short on this one, but so far I really like it, even with that little bit of twist that I have on it. But I've got everything kind of tuned in and lined up. And I'm using the same arrows that I have for my hunting rig right now because I'm testing out both of them to see what I like. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to keep it on my RX10 Ultra, but for this, I think it's perfect. I think it's making kind of more sense to keep it on here as I'm adjusting it. I'm really liking the pairing with the 480 grain arrow with this setup. But that can always change. I like to keep it close to some sort of hunting weight though, because you never know. It's always good to have a backup bow that's already set up. You're already kind of used to it. And then you have something ready to go. But I'm just going to take a couple of shots. I'm not doing anything crazy with this one. I think I did have it at like 70-ish before. I took a couple more turns out of it, and now I think I'm sitting at like 65. Which is perfect for me. This is a 70 to 80 pound bow normally. This is probably the lightest I would go on this bow, purely just because I'm hoping that will give me a little more longevity in these new strings. And then not only that, it'll be a little easier pull wise for a little bit and build myself back up on this bow. I want to probably have this at that 70 pound range eventually in the oncoming archery season. But for right now, at 64, 65 pounds, it's still shooting lights out. I'm just dialing in again because I actually had to move my sight down a little bit because the new strings definitely, once it was all tuned up and ready to go, was hitting just a hair higher. So I've had to adjust my actual sight, the roll wheel, which I'm not super worried about. I like the dead stop when you roll it all the way up and it's at 20, but seeing how this is probably not going to live all of its life as a regular hunting bow, it's probably just going to go ahead and be a quick setup. as far as 3D and archery indoors, that kind of stuff. I know a lot of people like to just buy a full-on target bow. I just haven't seen a super big use for that. I like having a hunting bow because that's predominantly where I spend my time. I love to do the 3D range and different stuff like that, or just shooting with buddies and different things. But ultimately, I like to have backup hunting bows, even if it's like for me, family member, or something like that. It's just nice to have something pretty much pre-made, set up, good to go. Pick it up and run with it if you have to. This one's really good because it has an adjustment range of, you know, whatever your draw length is. It has a couple of different discs that you can put in it, and whammo, you're back down to, I don't know, I think one disc goes from like 27 all the way up to 31. I think that's, or 28. I think that's what this is. That's a long range of draw adjustments that you can kind of choose from in case somebody else has a different draw. But that's why I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get rid of the RX8s. And I did get rid of my RX7, and I still kind of regret that because that bow was probably the most consistent soft shooter. The draw and the pull was pretty much perfect. But the speed was just kind of a disappointment when you really think about it. It was drawing so smooth because it was just didn't have the efficiency. But this bow picked it up just a hair more, and then at the 80 pounds it gave me what I was looking for. But the new RX10 Ultra is probably about the same speed at this 80 pounds, maybe a little faster even at 70 pounds. So those of guys that are shooting 80 pounds on the new setup, more power to you. That's going to be super fast and efficient. But I'm comfortable with shooting in the same range at 70 pounds, being able to pull it maybe just a hair easier and still getting that speed. I'm fine with that because on average my arrows are right around that 450 mark, either plus or minus 10 to 15. I have gone up to the 480, 500 before, and I like those too. They're awesome. They quiet your bow quite a bit. It's just it starts slowing down at that point, to the point where you can basically see your arrows flying through the air and hitting the target, as opposed to just releasing and that thing's already there by the time you can really look at it. That's the kind of speed I'm looking for, especially for hunting. I'm trying to find that equal balance of speed as well as that heavy kinetic energy, kind of mixed. But that's why we tinker, I guess. You know, there's tons of people that have had arrow builds and their qualities are fantastic and they're doing it just right. But I think it's preference overall. You know, if you have a good quality, efficient arrow that puts animals down, then that's what you go with. I actually use the time to set up these backup bows to test out arrows and how they fly and different things like that. But I also, it always relays back to hunting in one way or another. Like every piece of equipment I have is something like that. And that's what it's for. That's, you know, I love shooting the 3D range and shooting the ranges and having fun and doing indoors and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's just to sharpen my overall skills to be out in the woods. But it's nice. The wind's kind of died down a little bit. But I think I'm just going to take a couple of shots. I'm still messing with my release setup with the new arrows, making sure that now that the new strings are on there, because the other strings were starting to kind of separate around those rounds. You know, hopefully this one will last me a little bit longer. I shoot a lot. I probably shoot too much, but I enjoy it. It's part of my favorite pastime, just to do it and be ready for the hunting season, that kind of deal. But all right, let's just take a couple shots. I think it's going to be a little bit more efficient, a little bit smoother. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see where I'm shooting, but I'll try to give you guys a semi-open lane. But let's see if we can get this thing semi-close for now, and then I'll have to adjust my sight tape downward just to match it up. Back there. Things are getting close. I'm okay. It's super windy, especially with the back tension release. This is more I enjoy it more for indoors, but yeah, there's some pretty reps in that, and now it's getting easy, so that's all right. Like I said, if I'm pretty close, gotta get some reps in anyway. Might as well. I had to come back out yesterday or the day before. I left some gear here. Came looking for it. Eventually, I found it, and ended up being in the oh shoot. Yeah, it's pretty windy. Stuff's kicking up over here. So, but yeah, I left some gear here. Ended up being in the lost and found. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But I think what happened yesterday is when I was picking up everything was so windy. I think it kind of blew over, and I lost sight of it while I was picking everything else up to try to get out of here. I'm glad I found it today. I'd say we're pretty close. And my back tension's not great. I have to work on that. I've had a pretty major surgery on my right arm that helped me get some more strength back. I have a pretty decent little scar. I don't think you can see it from there, but that's okay. I don't need to show everybody that fun stuff. But my elbow variation is a little different sometimes, just because that's where I feel the strongest at my draw. I'm trying to hold, but all right, let's see. I don't know, my music just turned on, so I don't know if that's going to translate to the video, but hey, it's perfect timing. It messed up my shot and everything, but yeah, bow feels great. I'm going to take some more shots and get it dialed in for 3D and doing that kind of stuff. I'm going to try to shoot it in out to at least 80 for now, just so that I'm in the realm, but that's just for that. Typically when I do any of the outdoor hunting ranges, I take the hunting bow. This is just to kind of keep me still used to drawing almost every day. I shoot probably as much as I can every day, even if it's just like 3 or 4 arrows. Just go outside real quick and shoot in the backyard, getting some reps in, try to stay on top of it, because it's one of those things that diminishes quickly. I definitely noticed that going from 80 pounds and shooting that consistently down to that 78, and it was just so much easier, and I enjoyed it, and I was so much more consistent. And then shooting back to 70 pounds, drawing an 80-pound bow again is like, wow, it's an eye-opener. One of the things also, I've been shooting 65 to 75 now for a little bit, and I went into the local archery shop, and they had an AX90 on the wall, and I was like, man, that's a beast of a bow for sure. It even says so on top. I think that's one of these other archery guys, along with I think, I forget what his name is, but these guys that are famous for what they do and staying fit and stuff like that, they need to. I pulled it down and set it up, and we took it out to try to shoot it, and the first time drawing it back, I definitely underestimated what that was, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm ready to pull that back. And took me a minute, kind of changed my headspace for a little bit, got a little more warmed up, and really have to have very good bow form when you draw on that. And I drew it down, and I let it down, and that thing's quick. It's actually fairly smooth for what it is, but it's that initial drawback that you have to be ready for it. And it's got the efficiency, that's for sure. It's worth it. But dang, dude, 90 pounds is wild. That's wild. I think that people that see it on video and different things like that just maybe don't give it the credit it deserves. Albeit this bow was coming in a little hot. I think it was 94 pounds, but it was worth just trying to draw it back. I think 90 is certainly attainable. I don't know if I would have as much fun shooting it at 90 consistently, but you know, if that's what you want to do and you want to shoot the fastest, baddest bow out there, that's more power to you, man. I get it. You get, well, shoot it while you can, that's for sure. I think my strength only takes me up to the 80 pounds, and I think I'm comfortable there as my max. But as I hopefully will get in better and better shape coming up for any of the future hunts that I go on, that's where I'll be, you know, staying right in that area, because I'm consistent. I can shoot that. I can set up good arrows for that kind of level. I'm sure you have to go to a much stiffer spine for that kind of power and kinetic energy. And man, it's awesome to see. I think it gives you definitely a new respect for people that do shoot that level of bow, because man, it's a serious bow. That's a serious bow. Anything probably to that 90 to 100 is crazy. But the good thing about newer bows these days, they're getting smoother and smoother, so that efficiency's still there with that smooth draw. But you know, I think I'll stick with the RX10 Ultra, how I have it set up. I would even shoot the 33. You know, the I want to say AX90 is actually a 32 axle to axle, and I think that was the same setup that was for their turbo models. I think that was a 32 axle to axle instead of that 33. These ones are closer to, I want to say this one's like 33 and a half, and the RX8 is like 34 and an eighth or a quarter or something like that. But they're in that taller bracket that keeps me a little more steady. And that 32 is probably like that sweet spot between being too short and being too tall. But you get great efficiency overall. Even turning it down and building yourself up slowly, I could see that. I could see that, because it works different muscles. Drawing a heavy bow like that, it's not just straight muscles. It's that muscle memory and everything else. I think it's a combination, and if you can shoot it and shoot it well, that's awesome. But man, that thing, it's serious. Even just thinking about it hurts my shoulder a little bit, but that's okay. Doggone it, the wind's dying down a little bit again, but I just wanted to do a quick video and just touch on a couple things that I've already kind of been over. But yeah, you know, I'd like to do a head-to-head, maybe when it's not so freaking windy again. I'd like to turn the bow back up to probably that 74 or 75 pounds instead of the 64, and go head-to-head with this new RX10 Ultra side by side. Probably do, you know, something like 5 to 10 arrows and really feel out the difference. And then maybe even do like a speed test real quick or something like that. I'll take a day that I can actually do that and give a good comparison. I just know that the new one is, you know, they have different draw mods that make it a little more efficient for those draw ranges. And that's where it comes into play. That's probably the biggest thing. The versatility of the HBX Exact cams, excuse me, is just basically that you have a longer draw range variation that you can kind of mess with, which is good if, you know, you want to resell it and different things like that, or even if you need to use it for other people in your family or friends or whatever, just to let them shoot it and try it out. It's nice to have that variation, as opposed to the RX10. It takes away a little bit of that, you know, variation, and what you end up having is just a real efficient draw cycle that's in that 1/4 inch increments for that full 1 inch draw variation. But it gives you way more efficiency at even lower, shorter draw lengths and different things like that. And that's awesome. Like, you know, can't argue with, you know, having a 28 to below draw length and getting much better speeds out of it, and having a pretty decent draw cycle overall. And you know, there's give and take everywhere, but I think that the RX10 Ultra so far has been a great compromise of both those. And you know, I'm gonna keep shooting them until I really get a great handle on it. But I am leaning towards the RX10 Ultra as being my new hunting bow. But we'll see, because I'm still in love with the RX8 Ultra super silky, smooth, buttery draw. There's just something about it. But that's it for me. I'm just checking in. I'm just doing videos just for fun while I'm out here. But those of you reaching out and subscribing and doing all that stuff, hey, I really appreciate it. Feel free to ask more questions, or ask to review something else or whatever. I have a couple more things that I want to go over, especially since I've upgraded a few things on this new bow. But I tinker with stuff all the time, so if there's something that you guys really, really want to see, I'm sure I could make something happen. I can go look at some stuff. There's people that need bows set up all the time, so but hey, I'm here for the gear and talking about bows and hunting and all the stuff that we need. I'm gonna have a couple more reviews of some of my major gear stuff, especially starting as far as the vehicle you drive, the equipment you're using, the weaponry that you have, just everything and why I carry it. I'll probably have a bag drag at some point, and dump out everything, because I've got a couple of packs that need to be cleaned again, because when you're successful, what happens to your packs. So they get pretty full up of a little colorful thing called blood, and it stays on there, but after a couple of good washes, it cleans up nice, but it's worth it every time. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna close it out now, but thank you guys for watching. I know it's been hard watching it. I know it's pretty boring, but I'm just having fun, and thank you guys.